Here we go now with the next major topic. This is page 214 for chapter 23. So we're at Godfrey French 23, 214, learning to talk about how you say the differences between playing sports and games versus if French people say they're playing an instrument, because there's a little difference, okay? We say I play piano, I play football, the same, even though one's a sport and one is an instrument. But in French, they have a little different way of talking about sports and games. And you already know jouer au, right? Like jouer au foot, jouer au basket, we learned that. So you know they use au with sports because really what they're saying is they're playing at football, they're playing at baseball, and so on. They do jouer au with games too because you play at Monopoly, you play at Trivial Pursuit. Or O here, we're going to talk about that in more detail in a little while, if it's something that has more than one. Okay, like I play cards, I play checkers, right, more than one, so we're going to use jouer au. They sound the same, jouer au, jouer au. So it'll be jouer au carte, jouer au Monopoly, jouer au foot, jouer au basket. Okay, so that covers that. But instruments, notice it's not au, it's du or de la. Okay, whoops, don't want to do that. So du or de la, and then the instrument name. Because what they're really saying is they play some of the instruments. They play some piano, they play some saxophone, they play some violin or guitar or whatever it happens to be. Okay? So the important thing here to keep in mind, sports and games is going to be jouer au. Maybe it's O with an X, but it's jouer au. Jouer au sport, jouer au game, whatever it happens to be. But instruments, it's going to be jouer du or de la in the instrument name. Okay, so keep that difference in mind. If it's an instrument, I got to use du or de la, and in a little bit we'll tell you which ones are which. If it's a sport or a game, it's going to be jouer au, and I have to decide if it's a more than one, so that's an O with an X, or is it just a regular one, O, like that. Okay, so that's the key difference here. Jouer du or de la for instruments, jouer au sports and games. Okay, so now let's show you how the sports and games work. Okay, we've got jouer au foot, which you know is soccer, right? So jouer au football or jouer au football américain, that's, you know, the quarterback drops backs to pass type of football that you guys are used to in America. Jouer au basket, jouer au ping pong, jouer au volley, jouer au tennis, jouer au baseball, and the list goes on and on and on. Every sport that I can think of is masculine, so it's jouer au. Okay? Also jouer au are games like jouer au Monopoly, jouer au Trivial Pursuit, jouer au Uno, right? Because again, those are, it's just one thing, and it's masculine because the brand names are usually masculine. Okay? Now jouer au with an X goes with things that are more than one. So jouer au échec, jouer aux échecs, because you have to run that Z sound in because of this vowel here. So jouer aux échecs. This is chess, as we know it, and this comes from check and checkmate. If you've ever played chess, you know if you get the king in peril, you say check. Well, that's your mnemonic device here. Check is right there, and you say check in the game of chess. A lot of Americans will confuse and think this is checkers. No, that's not checkers, this is chess. There's a different word for checkers. Okay, so check, checkmate, échec, that's where that comes from. So jouer aux échecs is playing chess. Notice again it's O with an X, because you have that S on there, it's more than one. Jouer aux échecs versus jouer au without the X. Jouer aux dames. Dame then is what we know as checkers. Notice dame is the word for lady, because that was the ladies' game. You know, we're talking Middle Ages here. Chess, or échec, was the game of nobles to learn war, because stop and think about it. It's the castle, it's the knight, it's the king, right? And those are the soldiers that the strategy then was being learned how to move across the battlefield, or the chessboard as we know it. So that was a little too violent for a proper lady to play, so they gave them the ladies' game, which is what we call checkers. Okay? So jouer aux dames, playing the ladies' game, playing checkers, as we say. So dame is checkers, échec is chess, and then carte looks a lot like our word for cards. So jouer aux cartes is playing card games of all kinds. Okay, jouer aux cartes, jouer aux dames, jouer aux échecs. Again, sports and games are jouer au, either AU or AUX. But also brand names that have more than one are also going to be jouer au. Like, I could think of a couple off the top of my head. Jouer aux chutes and ladders. Notice there's more than one, so they keep the brand name, but they use that form of it. Jouer aux bananagrams, again, more than one, so the X goes there, jouer au, okay? But sports and games, always jouer au. Sometimes the O has an X on it. The names of the sports are going to be really easy to remember because most of the sports come from England or America, and all the ones on the quizzes and tests, you already know basketball and ping pong, baseball. You know those words, so just remembering jouer au. You're going to have to spend a little time remembering échec is check or chess, dame is the ladies' game or checkers, and carte is cards, but otherwise the words themselves are easy to remember. It's just jouer au, jouer au. Okay? Versus instruments, which I got to pull up here. Here you go. This is your instruments that you need to know. Jouer du, remember now they play some piano, violin, saxophone, and clavier is keyboard. So again, the words are not going to be hard to remember. Piano, you know, is piano. Violon is violin. Saxo or saxophone is saxophone. Okay. Clavier then is the only word that's new to you in this list, and that's keyboard. Okay. Like, you know, like piano, keyboard, electric piano kind of a thing. Clavier. And so these are all masculine, you can tell because of that du. So if I have un piano, un violon, un saxophone, un clavier, but it's going to be jouer du instead of jouer au. Don't go jouer au with any of these instruments, okay? Jouer du piano, jouer du violon, jouer du saxo, or jouer du saxophone, or jouer du clavier. Okay, versus the feminine ones, these instruments all have feminine noun attached to them. So it's jouer de la flûte, jouer de la guitare, jouer de la clarinette, jouer de la batterie. And again, I know you know what a flute and a guitar and a clarinet are. So batterie is the only really new word there, and batterie is a drum set, basically. Drums, battery, okay? Batterie, that's how you say that. So jouer de la goes with flute, guitar, clarinet, and batterie. Jouer du goes with piano, violon, saxophone, and clavier, okay? That is the key thing in this chapter, is knowing which ones are jouer du and which ones are jouer de la for instruments. If it's a sport or a game, it's jouer au. You just got to make sure you do that difference every single time. You'll just get used to it. Once you practice it a little bit, it'll be quite easy. So go ahead and do the workbook page that goes with this, which is, I believe, I got to look over here on my board, I believe it's workbook page 188. Okay? But it'll be obvious. You'll see pictures of chess boards or instruments, and you'll have to say what these people are playing. So do that workbook page and make sure you got this down.